Go ahead. Brother Lowe, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yep, you're all set.
Music.
All set.
Good. Are we all set?
All set.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Boston Praise Radio. This is the Beji Report. Woo! We had a tough morning time this morning getting on this morning, but that's okay. We're going to work out the kinks. And part of that was my fault because don't tell anyone, but I forgot the number to call in. Okay, my bad. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. And once again, this is the Beji Report. Every Thursday morning from 8 a.m. to 9. Yeah, I've been missing lately. I've been out. I've been missing. But I'm black, and I'm back. So, how goes it? I'd like to thank my engineer. Who is my engineer today?
Eric.
Hey, Eric Kennedy, thank you very much. So Renee's not around, huh?
No, she's here.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. She called me. That's right. Can you imagine? I forgot the number.
Wow.
That's why I need to get my butt back in the studio, and I will be coming in soon. But I forgot the number to call, and I had to call Pastor to get the number.
Wow.
Anyhow, Priscilla is around. She'll be in around at around 9, I believe. She has a guest coming in, and so we will be continuing with with the People Power Priscilla. Once again, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, people, and this is 102.9 FM Boston Praise Radio and TV, and we will be coming back. I know a lot of you guys are missing, and I'm sure the mayor is missing our program, Conversations with Marty Walsh. That'll be coming up soon. We've just been busy doing a lot of other things, so we haven't had a chance to talk with our mayor. But we will be coming back for those conversations, and Marty knows that at any time he feels, inspired, he can give us a call on our telephone line and voice his opinion as to what's going on. And speaking of what's going on, there's a lot going on in our country right now. And we want to encourage people to come out and vote. It's so very important right now, as you already know. This is going to be a historic election. Once again, we will be creating history all over again right now. And if you have any comments or suggestions, give us a call at 617-282-0685. Is that the number we're using, Eric?
Nope, we're using the second one because you're on 0685. So
okay,
617-282-7794.
7794. 617-282-7794. You give us a call whenever you feel, inspired to do so. Yeah, so what's going on here in Boston right now? There's a lot going on here in Boston right now. As a matter of fact, there's a lot going on across the country, but let's stay local for a moment. There's so much that needs to be done here in terms of protecting our kids. School is about to start. In some places, I think they are already started school. Where are we with that? Are we going to let our kids go to school? Are we not? Is there extra measures taken to protect them from this virus thing? Because this virus is serious, And we, being Boston, is one of the areas where it's starting to spike back up again. That's right. They're spiking back up with the virus here in Boston. And I guess it's because we haven't been taking the necessary precautionary measures. Because a lot of times you still see people with not wearing masks, getting together. And look, people, we got to do better than this. We can't do this. We got to protect our children. They're getting ready to go to school. I don't know what the situation is. Thank God I don't have any children that are, school age, although I do have grandchildren. and of course I'm concerned about them. But what are we going to do? What is it we're going to do? What kind of measures are you taking personally to ensure that we don't continue with this virus? You know, this is a serious business, serious business. You know, there's several organizations in the round, and we are trying to do what's necessary to protect our families, our friends, our community. And that's how we got to look at it. You know, they say wear the mask, not just for yourself, but to protect other people. So let's step it up, people. Let's step it up. And let's continue with the hand sanitizer or the washing of the hands. To be honest with you, I like washing hands better than hand sanitizer. You know, it's hand sanitizer is convenient when you can't get to soap and good old fashioned soap and water. But I prefer the hand sanitizer. I'm sorry, I prefer the washing of your hands in soap and water. Hot soap and water to me is, just a lot more pleasant to me, you know. So, what are we going to do, Boston? What are we going to do, Black Boston? Where are we right now? You know?
I'm hearing a lot of people tell me that.
History is about to be made.
Brother,
know we got to
Brother
come out
Lowe,
and
you
vote.
have some sound in the background there?
Do I have any sound?
Yeah.
Another phone? Hold on, let me see my phone. Other phone is on. How's that, Eric?
Much
Hello,
better.
Eric?
Much better.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, so, like I'm saying, where are we, Black Boston? What are we doing? I like to speak. Let me speak to Marty for a moment. Here we go. I heard you say that. I just heard you say that. But anyway, yeah, I still see a lot of people working in the street, Marty. Utility companies, you know, Feeney Brothers, working the street, and I don't see enough people of color, black men, working on the project. I'm bothered by that again. I'm bothered by that. Ever since you've allowed work to go back, construction to start up again, I don't see the numbers increasing in terms of minority participation. I don't know what MBE participation looks like, but it doesn't look like it's adequate enough. You know, there's still issues we need to face here, we need to talk about. And who is the ones that talk about racial injustice? You know, we can't forget that. You know, that is a problem. It's still a problem, especially here in Boston, because as you know, Boston, I know you don't want to hear it, is a racist city. Yes, it is. I said it. It's a racist city. We need some real programs, some real directions in terms of how we're going to deal with racial prejudice here in Boston. We still have the highest rate of unemployment in the black community. We have the highest rate of COVID deaths in the black community. And we're getting ready to send our children back to school. What are the necessary precautions that are being taken? What is being taken? What is being done? I know a year ago you told me when we were up at Franklin Park during the Juneteenth celebration, you told me you were working on the less than 1% of procurement dollars that we've been acquiring. What has been done, Marty? What have you done since a year ago? We've given you a whole year, over a year now. What new have you been doing? What has been done? Because to me, it's a problem when we got $664 million. Let's just say round off to $650 million of procurement dollars, and blacks get less than 1%. What has been done? What's the new plan, Marty? Hold on a second. I'm back. That was quick, huh? Yeah. So yeah, what is the plan? We can't continue to allow things like that to continue to happen. And we need a serious plan to do some things, to get things done, so that we can continue to survive in this city of Boston. I hate to say it, but it's not enough being done. I mean, I hear the talks. I hear stuff like, we're working on it. We got plans, but we haven't heard them. I haven't heard them. Have you heard anything, Eric?
I have not. I think he's preparing for his vacate.
Yeah, you think he's leaving, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, before you go, Marty, there's some things we need to have you do and take care of before you leave us. Don't just leave us like that. This is the Beji Report on Boston Praise Radio and TV. And as you know, this is the Beji Report every Thursday morning from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then from 9 to 10 is the People Power Priscilla, which she will be coming. She's busy doing some things. She can't even help me this morning, but she's busy taking care of some things, and she will be back by 9 o'clock. Hello? Hello? Eric?
I'm here. You got a caller.
Okay. Hello, caller?
Good morning, Brother Lowe. You on fire again. It's not the fire department. They sent the police to try to put you out.
Good morning, my brother Larry. How you doing, man?
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Priscilla's not in there. But I wanted to just briefly speak to you. You're talking about with this coronavirus and our folks, right? Because, what I'm seeing in our neighborhood is a lot of irresponsible behavior.
Right.
People with these parties, and a lot of folks are planning on having, carnival still in their own way,
right,
gatherings and large parties with carnival coming up within the next couple of weeks. And this is not something to play with, And I mean, when we have those types of events, large gatherings like that, we see a spike. Look, the government can only do so much, and I think, for the most part, the politicians here, whether you agree with them or not, they should have been very responsible in that way of informing and warning, but
right,
people have to do their part as well, because, the system gets overloaded, the healthcare system. We're the ones who are impacted by this. All the studies, all the data shows that black and brown people are impacted by this the most. So, folks, you have to take some personal responsibility in your behavior. If someone has had one of these parties, don't go and advise them not to have it. Be very firm about this is not going to help our community, because folks are then going to go and spread it around. They're going to come around people, elderly, and they're not going to tell people that they were out partying at some club when they were or at some party carnival where there were 500,000-600,000 of people.
Right.
So they're not just playing with their lives; they're playing with others in the community. And they're showing. Kids are getting it, and they're spreading it. Kids are heading back to school. I don't know what the status is going to be here in Boston, but still, kids are in the community, whether they're in school or not. They come in contact with adults. So I'm just trying to caution people to not think that this has gone away. And I know it's difficult. We've all been cooped up, and it's not what we consider normal, but neither is the virus.
Gentlemen, you have another caller joining you, Mr. Ditko.
Hello, Mr. Ditko.
Good morning. I would like to make a comment. My comment goes like this. First and foremost, shout out to T. Michael Thompson and the People's Academy. I know he's doing a great job, and this man is not giving up, and I thank him for that. Second, you made good points about the mayor, but I want to make this clear, and I want to be the first person on your show to make this announcement.
Go ahead,
The
Steven.
mayor, I repeat, if the mayor won for a third term next year, because he's up for re-election, he wants to surpass the previous mayor as being the longest serving mayor in Boston. Let me repeat that on your show. If the mayor wins and wins a third term, he wants to surpass the previous mayor as being the longest serving mayor in Boston's history. Yeah? Now, after saying that, I'm not a medical doctor. And keep this in mind, to you and your guests. The coronavirus is still relatively new to Americans, if not the world. And the fall is coming. It's almost right around the corner. This disease, we don't know how it's going to change or mutate during the cool and cold weather. So we got to keep that in mind. It's not like the flu when we have years of testing and experiment on how the flu works.
Right.
Coronavirus is still new. Please, people, especially black and brown people. I'm not a medical doctor, but this is my opinion. We got to make sure we don't know how this coronavirus is going to change during the cold and cool weather.
Right. Right. And I agree with you, what you're saying. And I also agree with what Larry was saying, too, because as you know, we have to do the necessary steps. We have to protect ourselves. We can't depend on the government or the mayor or anybody else to do this. We know what it takes, to protect ourselves, and to the best of our ability, we should be doing it because we can't allow for our elderly or our youth, the young people who maybe not be affected by it or may not see symptoms, could still be carriers of the virus. So we have to do the necessary steps. We as a people have to do the necessary steps to protect ourselves. We have to take that responsibility.
Hands down.
What?
And also with the mayor and the superintendent doing this hybrid day, some classes and some classes online, you got to remember that, okay, Zoom is the future. We get that. But you got to remember, you can't learn everything through a computer screen, no? Or through a computer in general. No? There's some things you have to learn in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Important things. So, and having this hybrid mode, personally, it sucks. So, and the city councilors, some of these city councilors are parents. So, I don't know why any of them or none of them doesn't stand up to the mayor like Michelle Wu, Lisa Sarby George, Andrea Campbell, just to name a few, to stand up to the mayor and says, wait a minute, mayor, what you're doing is completely wrong. You're avoiding the kids not only social skills, but also skills that they need later on in life, like woodworking, and I don't know if they still have woodworking in school, but anyway, but other important things. Having this hybrid model is just ridiculous, and plus, you gotta remember this equation. The parents, they gotta work. They can't go to their job unless they're self-employed. They can't take a couple of days out of their job to tell their boss or supervisor, well, I need more time because my kids is I'm homeschooling my kids because they gotta go to Zoom and all that stuff. Almost no boss don't want to hear that because that tells me, that would tell the boss that you don't want the job. But even though, unless that person has a kid or kids, then they'll understand. But again, remember, they have to go to work. Work is a business, meaning you have to make money to put food on the table, pay the lights, and pay the rent along with the mortgage. We can't do that. So no boss will accept that, even though it's not an excuse. It's just a reason for the parents not to. It's not the parents don't want to work. It's just that they got to find a way to go around that. And then yesterday's moratorium down in New Bean Square, the governor, I'll say, he's a useless governor because if he was smart, he would extend that moratorium either towards the end of the year or the end of February or March of next year. Ending it on October 17th, that's not to give nobody enough time to talk to the landlord to renegotiate or talk to the bank if you own a house to renegotiate your mortgage. Because what happens when October 17th comes? You get kicked out of your place. And we all know that useless governor doesn't care. Because this man has a house. I don't know if he's paid for it, but he owns a house. I don't know if he ever went to an apartment. But those who went to an apartment are scared to death. I'm scared to death myself because I'm paying rent. But when post October 17th, I don't know when I get kicked out. I'm landlord has to pay for the property taxes. He has
Right.
he also has to pay for his bills. So I understand
That's right.
the situation where he's coming from. But in this case, we got a useless governor who is failing the people of Dorchester, Wasp-Bay, Manhattan. Huh? I'm sorry. And where is the mayor and the city councilors who were supposed to have our backs, sir, to make sure that we can stay at our places, whether it's a house or an apartment, huh?
What do you think, Larry? You still there?
Well, I'm here. I'm here. I'm listening. I'm taking it all in, and I think the point he's making that I take away from this is exactly what we talk about all the time: is depending too much on the government, right? That is failed time and time again, right? And that we haven't devised a plan for ourselves, right, to save ourselves, right? All these issues we should be addressing, and then coming to them with a solution on how we want them to enact what we want, right? So we have to get ourselves together because we have to hold ourselves accountable as well. Because, look, if you saw some of this stuff, it's not the government, it's not the mayor, it's not the governor, that over 50% of the kids were not turning on the computers in their home. It's not the biggest thing, but that's the basic thing as a parent that you should be, if you're at home, or making sure that you're addressing that, right? Checking in with it to find out whether your kids are logging onto the system. This is uncharted territory, but there is no uniform plan across the country. You have a crazy man in the White House who, doesn't believe in the science, right? So different people believe in different things, and we're not on one page. We never, but we've never been where it's been this bad, But again, if we are waiting for solutions to come from the government, we've already failed. We've already failed the test because how many times have we been disappointed, right? Saying, what is the government, what is the city council going to do? Like I said, for the most part, most people know in Boston, once the city council passes the budget, they're pretty much on vacation. They have hearings, but it's a mayoral strong city. The mayor, decides on policies in the city of Boston, right? But like I said, people will do what what the pressure is on them to do. And again, like you said, the number of people that will be gathering for Carnival in the next couple of weeks, if those same number of people were down at City Hall or at the State House, right, with a plan on this is what we want implemented, you would see change. We get together for the wrong reason. We'll get together to celebrate and socialize, and those are all good. But that can't be our main focus. And that seems to be what it is. I mean, our kids, look, before this pandemic hit, it was in there that most of the Boston Public Schools, the high schools, were in receivership or close to it or in academic probation or had been at some point, other than the exam schools. And I heard really outraged from the parents. I work in the schools, so I see the lack of participation by the parents. You can't blame that on the government because we all have parents. Let me tell you, my mom, I would be petrified that the school would call me.
You and me both.
Okay? I'm not behaving in a way, They didn't do it. All you had to do was tell me that, and it straightened up. So I don't think that there's being enough put on the parents. Because it's not their job. It is their job to teach your child, and no one's going to take more of an interest in it, and they should not be taking more of an interest in your child than you are. And that's what I'm saying. I have to be honest. I can't blame everything on the government. Yes, they have an obligation and a responsibility, absolutely. But we also have to pull our weight, because those of us who went to school during busing and had to fight to go to school, and now I see kids who don't go, and the parents, I can't accept it. I can't accept it.
And it's actually upon us more than it is upon them, Larry. I mean, we are the parent, we are the leader, that is our child, and we should be taking a lot more of a stance in terms of what the education are getting, the quality of education, and the fact that if we don't push our kids, we don't they won't be pushed. And we need to be taking more of a responsibility in terms of what's going on in our educational system. I mean, it's bad enough that we have our schools are lacking in the first place. So how can you feel comfortable, leaving your kids into a system that ain't really working that well?
Right. So the question begs, what do you do? I mean, look, we've had 9 or 10 school-age students murdered this year, right? Not in the South, right? Exactly. No one talks about that, right?
No.
The one that didn't live here was a school age, who would be 11. The two up on Mattapan, right? So the violence that's going on, the constant shooting, that's not the government. That's not the police shooting at. So we have to own what we're not doing, what we're not addressing, because it's not the police are not going to solve that. We have a climate now where it's anti-police. And look, I get it. I, as the president of the minority police, the numerous times I've had to sue the city, on our behalf, and it's not perfect.
Right.
There are good police officers out there. There's good in any industry. There's good and bad. But
That's right.
It's about holding people accountable. You don't have to destroy. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
That's right. That's
what
right.
it does in some instances is it makes good police officers start to pull back because they say, well, whatever I do, it's never going to be right. So tell me, Brother Lowe. I'm not, I treat everybody fair. But I say, okay, is this, and me trying to be nice or whatever, is that going to get me in trouble? Am I going to lose my job? I'm not going to have to defend just trying to do my job. And that's not what you want. You don't want people working under that. You don't want that us against them because people say, oh, defund the police, then who are you going to call?
Well, I ain't with that. I mean, that in terms of talking about getting rid of the police, to me that's ridiculous. We shouldn't even be talking about like that. Maybe reforming, maybe more classes or whatever the case may be. But in terms of getting rid of the police, come on, that's ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing, right? We're talking about politics. Anybody talking about defunding our politicians, right? Because you call them to come and deal with your problem. Right. People are saying that we're disappointed in the response. At least the police show up.
Yep. You're right.
Right. So who's gonna replace them? The politicians that you're talking about? They're gonna solve your problems? Okay.
I think not. I mean, we can't get politicians to show up right even now for nice things, good things that go on in our community. We can't get them to show up.
That's what I'm talking about. So as I said, people, be careful what you wish for, right? Because and throwing money at it's not in some instances it's not the solution because we spend more money per student. We spend a lot of money. The budget for the schools just alone here would run some small countries.
Wow.
Envious of just what we spend on schools. Over, I think, close to $80 million or more on buses alone, right? So if you look at the school budget, it's not lack of money. It's where it's being spent. And also, it's about, like I said, the parents going down there. If your child is falling behind, why are you waiting until the report card comes? Right?
Where is the money being spent, Larry? Where is the most of the money on a school budget being spent?
A lot of it is administrative. It's staffing. I mean, it takes a lot, you think about, like I said, if you just $80 million just on buses, $80+ million just on buses a year, right? Most towns don't even have an $80 million school budget.
Right.
And we're spending that on transportation when you look around and you see 2 or 3 kids sometimes on a bus.
Yeah.
They would keep it, to give them an Uber, and send them to school, and that will buy them a car. So we have to be smarter on how because it's not the mayor's money, it's not the governor's money, it's our money. We're taxpayers.
Right.
So don't be fooled. Oh, the government. It's not their money. It's your money.
That's right.
It's your money. And even if you don't work, because some people feel the mess, if I don't work, I ain't paying it. You pay taxes. Go out and get some gas. Go out and buy something. Go out to eat. You pay taxes.
That's right. You're going to have to pay one way or the other.
If you live in a house and you're paying the landlord, his money, part of that rent is going to pay property taxes.
That's right.
So don't take the mentality that you're not. But like I said, if you're waiting for the government to come up with solutions to these problems and you're not going to be involved with the solutions, it's not going to happen.
And that's a lot. That's a large part of the problems, I think we have the mentality, Larry, that we want someone else to make the decisions. We want someone else to, decide what's going to happen to us. And then, oftentimes, after they've made the decisions, we complain. But even though we complain, we don't really get involved. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to sit back and complain, but it's another thing to get up and go down City Hall and get involved, find out what's going on at City Hall hearings and that kind of thing.
In other words,
you have it in your intro of your show. What does it say in your intro? No one is coming to save us.
Right.
But us hasn't gotten together. Us don't have a plan.
That's right. You said something, Devo?
Biggest problem.
Yeah, I said, in other words, we become lazy if we let other people do what we want them to do. Well,
Yep. Yep.
Well, we do, but then we don't have the input in it, right? So when they do it with something we didn't ask them to do because we didn't tell them exactly, we didn't give them instructions, and we didn't hold them accountable for it, they just do what they want. What's convenient.
That's right. Hello? We still connected?
yep.
Everybody's still there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's it's like I said, and Larry, you always talk about this. It's incumbent upon us to take care of us. We can't really, be in the mindset of waiting for other people to make decisions, waiting for other people to decide what you're going to do. I mean, hey, you may wake up the next day and your speed now is a one way, and you're angry because your speed is the one way when you had no input in it in the first place. And then when they sent you a letter telling you that they're going to make a decision, you didn't attend, you didn't get involved. So we as a people have to get involved.
How's that worked out, Brother Love? How's that worked out? Isn't that the definition of insanity, right?
Right.
Doing the same thing, expecting a different result?
That's right.
So we've seen what just depending on government to deal with our problems has resulted in, right, our problems still exist.
Right.
But yet we keep expecting our politicians to save our problems. Yeah, they should be part of working with us, absolutely.
Exactly.
But you shouldn't give them total control over your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's another thing, too. We, as a people, need to be more proactive in terms of telling politicians what it is we want. You know what I'm saying? We don't really, and oftentimes I find too, like even with our organizations, some of the organizations we work with, sometimes you get before the people that need to hear it, and then you don't have a plan. We need to have a comprehensive plan so that we can all move together, and see some wins. Because oftentimes we're all fighting, but everyone's fighting, but we're not fighting together.
But the problem is when it comes
but to your point, right? You say, we tell them what we want. We do that at the ballot box, right? Because when we have 30,000 eligible voters and a couple hundred show up, we tell them we're not interested in anything.
Right.
They can. That's how the politicians. They look at the numbers.
Yeah. Yep.
People say, well, why do things are better in the suburban? Look at the percentage of people that vote, and if it's an issue that they care about, they're out there making sure that these politicians know whether they want it or they don't.
Right.
It's not rocket science.
That's it.
But like I said, there'll be more people showing up to get sick at some party, right, than will show up to vote.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's for sure.
So the self-destruction is real too, and we can't blame everybody else when we're not doing what we should be doing.
Well, when they point your finger, one finger at someone else, there's three fingers pointing back at you.
Absolutely.
I
mean, and when you look at the leadership that we used to, I'm not saying we don't have it, but we were more together, right, back then because, we had a common purpose. Somehow we feel like the struggle is over. And, folks go in there and they negotiate their own deals, and the rest of us.
Right. That's right. Speaking of old deals, I just got to say this, that I really miss Counselor Yancey, Chuck Turner, because to me in city council, I haven't seen the type of fighters like that since they've been gone. I mean, you can't be a fighter like Charles Yancey. There's no one like him, and I just have so much respect for him and the things he did. I mean, so many times he was sitting in City Hall fighting for us and had no support from other city councilors.
Right.
Other than Chuck, of course, when Chuck was around. But I've seen him and Chuck Turner fight for issues that, we're still fighting to this day. And I just have to give them their dues, on the many fights that they have fought for the city, for black people in the city of Boston.
Mm-hmm. Well, they knew how it worked, and that's the first part, that you have to know what you're doing, right?
Right.
And a lot of
Right.
people go in there now. And then, you know what's even sadder, Brother Lowe, is that when people see that these folks are not doing what they how come they keep getting reelected? How come
Right.
Chang Diaz is still going to be the senator for a majority of people of color? But if you ask them, are they satisfied with what she's done? They'll tell you no.
Right.
So
Right.
you're reelecting her on.
Right.
Oh, so you just sit on the sideline and you don't get enough people together to vote them out and send a message to whoever gets in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would she take any interest in dealing with your problems? She doesn't have to.
That's for sure. Especially if you allow her to keep getting back in. As a matter of fact, it sends a message to her that she thinks she's doing a good job.
Right.
You keep electing her in there, she must feel like she's doing a pretty good job.
Right. Right. So you blame her for not like I said, you go get a job and don't do the job. How long you have the job?
That's right. That's right.
Like I said, in that bill that they wrote, with this police reform and other, not just police, because people don't understand, it also affects other employees, state and city employees, right? But they exempted themselves from any responsibility. Okay. They should not be held accountable, but everybody else, big head.
Right. Right. That's right.
I mean, you want to lead by example, and folks aren't paying attention to that. I have no problem with being held accountable. I have no problem with, doing my job and being held accountable.
Right.
But we're sitting here talking about people saying they're not happy with their politicians, right? And they have a recourse for that at the ballot box.
Right. That's right.
It's not easy to get rid of a politician than a civil service worker. That's what you know.
This is Boston Praise Radio, and this is the Beji Report, and we are encouraging our city at this time. The people, we have so many people who are registered that won't take the time to come out and vote. That's despicable. That's unheard of. We really need you to step up and come out and vote. Take the time.
I want you to emphasize this, folks, that this is not a rebroadcast. This is real, because if people heard, they haven't reacted and responded, that you have to keep saying that. They're probably waking up and saying, oh, this is an old show. No, this is old news that we haven't addressed the problem. That's how long it is.
That's right. That's right. So come out and vote, people. Get up, put it on your schedule. Tell your neighbors. Tell your family. Come out and vote.
Like your lovely wife, Sister Priscilla, says, change is going to come, right?
Yep.
We haven't seen that. Even the government's running out of change. They can't find change. Change is something that's rare.
That's true. That's true. And it ain't going to happen just because we want it to happen.
No. Look,
it's going to happen when we get involved. Make it happen.
Absolutely. And it can't, look, the folks who have been dealing with this for the longest time, right? A lot of those folks have gotten older. They've passed on, unfortunately, right? We're losing that generation, and I don't think we have enough of folks, in the next age group, and even that Generation X is coming up. I mean, I'm hopeful what I see, but the protest is just a small part of it.
Right. Right.
The people can't protest ever.
Right. What do you do after you protest?
Yeah, they want to change police reform, but you just outlined earlier, Brother Lowe, that's $650 million and less than 1%. I mean, that's a bigger problem than the police reform as far as impacting people on a regular basis. We have problems here, absolutely, problems around the country, but economic impacts us more. The study from the Boston Globe that they did several years ago, right? The disparity in with the wealth income of black alone. They just specified black, right? That has not changed. It's probably gotten worse.
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right. What is going to be done?
Monopolize your show this morning, but I mean,
I love you. You know I love you, brother. You know I love it.
Yeah.
Yes,
we have to see. It can't just be about us pointing the finger, like you said, pointing it, because the finger can easily be pointed back at us, and people say, well, look, for still, like I said, we talked about this on your show before. None of us came from any generational wealth. We built that.
That's
We wanted
true.
it better for our families, the next generation.
That's right.
And even for
That's
people
right.
we don't even know we're fighting for.
Right. That's right. And I know you feel like I feel like sometimes it's so frustrating when you're out there fighting for our people and they won't fight for their own self.
No, they fighting against you. They'll come out
Fighting against
and
you.
you're going to get something by saying what you're saying is not true.
Right, right. And they want to hold us accountable, but they won't hold nobody else. They won't even hold their own selves accountable.
Right. And they don't realize they have the numbers. Like they said, Priscilla says, we are the people, we have the power, but we don't exercise it.
That's right.
The city council, I think, has 13 members. The mayor is one. So altogether, less than 20 people, right? Even if
Right.
you combine the people at the state house, right, who are here, there are less people in politics than in one district in our community. Not even a tenth of the
Right.
people that they represent.
Right.
Do the math, people.
Mm.
They should be beholden to you, not the other way around.
Exactly. Exactly.
But we're just seeing people sitting on the sidelines. Okay, it's not a spectator sport.
Yeah. It's definitely not a spectator sport. You got to get involved. You got to make if you expect. And you know, it kills me too because people sometimes say, "Oh, I'm not gonna vote because it ain't gonna change nothing." And I said, "Go outside your door and look around. You tell me nothing's changing."
Well, let's look at
Things
the
are
last
changing all over this city, and it sure ain't changing for your benefit.
Right. Well, let's look at the last city council race that we just had here, right? And in which that person said to you, "My vote don't matter. It ain't going to change." That one vote changed. That one vote
One vote.
changed out. One vote. Right?
Yep.
One vote.
That's right. That's right. That's right. One vote made a big
Every
difference.
vote doesn't count. Sure did.
Yes,
Made a
sir.
big difference for Councilor Mahia, right?
Right.
It made a big
That's
difference
right.
for her opponent as well. Because
That's right.
if she had gotten two more for people to come out on her behalf, she would be
Right.
council.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm sure there were two people who told her that they were going to vote for her that didn't show
Yeah.
up.
And didn't show up. Yep. Of course. Of course. And those people could have made a difference.
Right.
That's right.
But see,
That's right.
we don't look at the facts of something. We figure out, like I said, you know, I always say it, brother, I use that analogy. If I said right now, Brother Lowe's got 5,000 turkeys going to be given
Right.
out, right? You know, because people are already, well, what are you guys going to do to get the stuff to us? Call in our office at Mamleo. How are we going
Right.
to get the toys? How are we going to get this? Are we going to have a house? I mean, the things that are, I get it. They might make you feel good, and you know, you don't have to do much but show up.
Yeah.
See, I said maybe we shut those down for good now. So look, you got to do for self. Show me you're doing something, and I'll help you. But I'm not going
Right.
to do it all for you.
Well, you know it says in the Bible, God helps those who helps themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, if you give me a fish, I eat for days. Feed me
Right.
fish, I'll eat forever.
That's right. That's right. You know?
But this attitude, this philosophy that the government is coming to. Okay, how long has it been?
Too long.
How long you guys been doing your show? Because I know Mamleo's been on the air for over 10 years, and you guys have got to be close to that, right?
Yeah, we around 8, 6, somewhere around there.
Okay. Right. And how long have you been asking people, thank you, to come out and vote, right? And how long has Priscilla been saying change is going to come, right?
Right.
And the
Right.
things we need is, how long have you guys been giving folks the roadmap to success, right? You guys have these standouts and demanding, you know, people have access to these jobs and stuff. How many people show up, Brother Love?
Well, you know, Larry, sometimes we look behind us, and we're the only ones standing there.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it's frustrating, too, when you go down to City Hall, or you go down, for instance, the Beck Report. As a matter of fact, the Beck was they had a very good, interesting time yesterday at the Boston Employment Commission, and it was on Zoom, And Travis, I tell you, Travis is a lightning rod in the Beck. So if anyone is interested in finding out what's going on with the Boston Employment Commission, I think Travis did an article. So you might want to look up his article because it's very compelling. His article that he wrote about what's going on in Boston in the Boston Employment Commission. But yeah.
Gentlemen, can I interject real quickly?
Sure.
So I want to make sure that you guys are aware, because I know BG does a lot with construction companies to make sure that we have our people on these sites. So, Brother Lowe, are you aware of the South Station expansion?
South Station expansion? I've heard of it, but I'm not aware of who the developers are.
Well, I believe probably starting next year, there's a 678-foot glass tower that's going to be expanding on there. It's going to have 166 condos, and it's going to be a huge project, probably a 2 to 3 year project. So it'd be, just keep an eye on that, and make sure that they're doing the right thing, whoever the developer is. I know it's a Houston-based development company that's going to be doing that.
It's on the 18th.
So have you guys heard of the People's Academy expansion? Oh, that hasn't happened.
Oh, how long has they've been trying to get that happen?
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. And how much more beneficial would that have been to the community rather than the South Station expansion?
Right.
Millions.
That's right. That's what I say. I mean, I have to get back on my boy, the mayor. We talked to the mayor over 5-6 years ago. Me, Priscilla, and T. Michael Thomas talked to the mayor over 5-6 years ago. And the mayor told us then that he would support us.
Mama.
He would support the People's Academy. So you think I'm lying? Call T. Michael Thomas and ask him. But what has the mayor did? When the mayor wants something to happen, he can make it happen overnight. Okay? These the big developers, they can come on and things will happen overnight practically. But when it comes down to educating our black men in our black community by black men, for black men, there's a roadblock there, people. We got to understand. There's no way that the mayor should be blocking and not ensuring education of our workers in our community. Michael Thomas has a program that should be duplicated. That should be multiplied and duplicated. There should be plenty of programs like his, yet he can't get that one program off the ground, and the mayor is not pushing hard enough to make that happen.
Gentlemen, time flies when we have conversation of substance. We have 1 minute.
The community pushing hard. That's where the push has to come from. See,
we have 1 minute.
Again, we go back to, yes, should they do the right thing? Well, how many politicians do the right thing because it's the right thing to do?
Right. Far between them.
Most of them respond to the pressure and the will of the people.
Right.
So I'm not
but there's
giving
been enough land. But there's been. I'm gonna tell you. But let's go back to the People's Academy though.
Yep.
You can't really say that so much about it because people have been. I know you. I know a lot of people from you to judges to politicians.
Gentlemen, we have about 5 seconds.
That are still pushing for the People's Academy, yet it hasn't been able to happen. It hasn't been able to happen. So I mean. That is something that, I don't know how much more pushing you can do. Matter of fact, even the governor himself is,
but that's why the people have to wait for the People's Academy. All right.
Come up with the music so loud, man. You gotta come up with it subtle. You gotta keep it down low. But okay, this is the Beji Report, and we'll be back with People Power Pursuit. You should be in the studio. Thanks a lot,